Hi, very good morning, all, and welcome to today's session. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. We are waiting for people to join. Hi, once again, I welcome you all and thank you for joining today's webinar. I am Naveen from Relativity Management Solutions India Private Limited. I would like to introduce today's presenter, Mr. Akash. He is a successful young entrepreneur, speaker, innovator, and payroll expert who helps business leaders and entrepreneurs. He is well known as a financial expert specialist for over 13 years now. He is also a frequent guest at events hosted by NHRD, NIPM, Thai chapter, IHR related to human resource finance, taxation, and entrepreneurship. He has conducted more than 200 sessions offline and online. It's time to start our webinar. Over to you, sir.
Hi, morning. Thank you very much for that brief introduction, Naveen, and good morning to each and every one of you. It's wonderful as always to see you all during our monthly webinar today. So as I promised last time, this format is going to be a little different. So I thought let's try out a different format, and here we are. So I'm just trying to share my screen so that I can show you what it is. Just give me a second. Present. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I hope you're also able to see my screen. Naveen, can you confirm that you're able to see my screen? And now, okay. Is it good? Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So the kind of approach that I thought we should take is instead of we deciding what the topic is. Of course, we will definitely deal with the updates in payroll, the updates in compliance, the updates in accounting, the updates in taxation, as in how they come. They will always be a part of this whole discussion. But when not every month we have significant amount of items to discuss or significant amount of updates to discuss about. So why not we have a little different kind of a approach. And that is where I thought, okay, why should I decide what the topic is? Why don't I give the power to decide even what people want to know to the people itself? So that's how this concept of crowdsourced webinar came. And we are still going to stick to topics in the areas of payroll, taxation, compliance, and accounting. We're not going to go out of that area. But I thought, okay, one week or so earlier, we could ask all of you guys, okay, what is it that you want to know? What is it that you want to get to know? And then this particular webinar could be focused on those topics which are on high demand. But today I have chosen two, and that's how we are going to choose one of them, depending on what you guys think is relevant. I'm sure all of you know what is crowdsourcing, right? Getting ideas from the participant themselves. And on these lines, yesterday my team also sent out a mailer requesting for questions about sometimes you just want to ask questions beforehand, so that you are more comfortable. We sent out and we got a good response. We'll definitely take those questions as we end the session. But I think the two topics that I thought we should give an offer a choice for all of you is either ESOPs and RSUs. We can deal about ESOPs and RSUs, how ESOPs work, how RSUs work, what are the payroll compliance related to ESOPs and RSUs, what kind of challenges should we anticipate and be ready, what kind of regulatory reporting requirements is there. A very high level brief. We are not going to go into the detailed calculations, but a very high level brief. This is one of the options that we have. And another option which I thought, based on my interaction, we outsource, I mean, companies outsource their payrolls to us and we do payroll processing. So over the last 2-3 months, a lot of companies have come back to us and asked, okay, we are hiring trainees, we are hiring interns. Do we still have to comply with PF, ESI, PT? Is it applicable? Their net take home is going to go a lot down, and these people are just temporary, blah blah blah. So and we've dealt with this topic I think about 1.5-2 years ago as well in detail, but I thought, okay, let's also get into relevance. So this is the second topic option that we have. And the third is mandatory. Some questions that we received yesterday, we'll spend about 15-20 minutes there. So Divya, may I request you to run a poll and let's see what our audience want. Do they want the first topic, ESOP and RSUs, or do you want to focus on intern, is PF, ESI, PT applicable for that? And I don't know what is going to happen if we are in a tie. I hope that we don't end up in a tie, but then let's see. Okay, the results are interesting, and okay, we are leaning slightly towards interns. 56% have voted for interns and 44% for ESOPs and RSUs, but still, there are about 70 participants on this webinar. About 40% have polled. So I request all of you to please take your fingers and start polling, so that we can concentrate. We can look at what is it that you want. and we can make sure that we deliver what exactly you would appreciate. Okay, so about 20 more people have to poll, and then we can definitely end the poll. Right now we are at 50-50, so I really don't know what to do. Okay, 51. Okay, so just a couple more, and right now it's still a tie, 50-50, but then it's exciting. And it would be injustice for me to do both, because if we don't spend the required time, we wouldn't get the appropriate result in terms of information. And it's not only about my presentation to you, we'll also focus on specific questions from all of you for the topic that we have chosen. So we answer those questions, we go through those questions, and then appropriately call this a crowdsourced webinar. Okay, so I have 71% of the participants who have polled. I request the remaining to please poll and help us make a decision. So right now we are at 53% on interns and 47% on ESOPs. It's yeah, Manjula, you've put it in chat, so it would be nice if you have polled. If you've polled already, forget it, no problem. But if you haven't, the scores are being calculated there. By the way, are you guys able to see the poll result? Are you guys able to see the poll result? No? Okay, so let me. Okay, done. Shall I close the poll? Is there anybody who wants to do that last 1 second? Yeah. So for those who are also on LinkedIn, who are also this is being live streamed on YouTube, on LinkedIn as well. So to all of those who are there, very, very good morning to you on all our social platforms. And for all of those who have come just now, we are running a poll for you to decide what topic you want to deal, or what topic you want to get to know more today. So the options that we have are ESOPs and RSUs. That is one of the topic. And the other topic is interns, is PF, ESIPT applicable. So that's the option that we have. And I have about 73% participants who have polled. If we get to about 2 more participants, I know that 75% have polled, and the results will be more accurate. Right now we are leaning more towards interns, PF, ESIPT, but we just have. Okay, so we've spent a lot of time polling, and I'm going to stop here. Thank you very much. The poll has ended, and I'm going to share the results right away. So I think now you are able to see the poll results, and it's okay. So there are a lot more. There are a lot of people who want ESOP and RSUs. I mean, at least half of them do want ESOP and RSUs. Probably that takes me that should we have a specific session for ESOPs and RSUs? Maybe we can think about it. But today, it's crowdsourcing. So all of those who have voted for interns, PF, ESIPT applicability, this is your time, 54%, and we're going there now. Wonderful. Thank you for your fingers, and let's quickly go there. So, when I went to Google, and when I typed, okay, Provident Fund for interns, right? That is what all of us would do. We would ask the Google master, okay, is Provident Fund applicable? Google has a notoriously bad habit of connecting a simple headache to cancer. A simple headache to cancer. That's Google master's bad habit. But then it's the buyer's remorse, they say. So we have to be careful, and we have to be concerned about what we are going to do and what is going to happen. So as a normal behavior, you start hiring interns, and then this question of whether there is PF, ESIPT applicability, and then you go to Google, and then you search, and then you read the first line. And the first line says, EPF is not deducted from the stipend earned by a trainee or an intern. Okay, you forget to read the next three lines. You just forget to read that. You just read this. Oh wow, yes, and then you keep going. You go back and you tell to your boss and you say, boss, I have verified it on Google. And then you would also say, yeah, I also checked with my friends. You know what your friends are doing? They're also going and checking on Google and reading the first line. That also not completely. And they're also, yeah, I also know that, there's no EPF to be deducted on stipend and all of that. And finally, what ends up is the company ends up, in a non-compliant state. So it's always best to seek advice from professionals. It is always best to also look at, not only the advice from Google, but also the act, what the act actually says, and make sure that you are compliant with the act. Having said that, on this itself, there are a few more lines, so we'll talk about it in detail. So, our conversation about interns statutory compliance is scheduled to be for about 15 to 20 minutes. And then we'll spend another 15 to 20 minutes taking questions, and then if you have any questions in between, feel free to put them, or rather, why don't I do this? Wait until we complete the whole of this and then put your questions, because maybe your questions may get answered at another place or during another time. Right. So having said that, first let's try and define who are interns and who are trainees and who are temporary workers or temporary employees, and then you have the permanent employees, and then between the temporary and the permanent employees you have probationary employees, right? So we have interns, we have trainees, we have temporary employees, we have probationary employees, and then we have permanent employees. Yes, so this is a generic term that is being used in the HR world, and few of the companies may not use all of this. Few of the companies may not have this at all. Like for example, at Relativity, we don't have a probationary employee at all. It's either an employee who is permanent or a trainee. That is all, right? We don't have this probationary employees at all, and though there is a lot of importance given to probationary employees, but at the end of the day, what happens is the compliance requirements do not recognize whether they are temporary, whether they are probationary, or whether they are permanent. All employees are given the same level of rights, as long as you are adopting the standard standing orders. If you have a specific standing orders for your own organization, which if you belong to the IT and ITES segment, you may not in all probabilities, then there is no distinction in compliance for any of these designations. So we are talking about these interns. Now, what is the difference between interns and trainees? Usually trainees are those who have completed their education and who are undergoing a specific skill training at your organization. It could be Java skill training, or it could be something related to CNC machining or welding or anything. So on the job skill set training is what a trainee is. Then what is who is an intern? So different, all these, they don't have a standard definition. Okay, this person is only an intern, this person is only a trainee. We don't have a standard definition, but what industry wide we do use, if you look at what is used industry wide, is interns are those who have not completed their college, but they are in the college, and they may complete in the next 3 months or 6 months or something of that sort. So you take them as interns. They intern with your organization. They are usually those people who want to get to know or have exposure to the corporate world, right? We always say people out of college are not ready for job. So internship is a way of making them ready, and I think 100% of universities or colleges have internship programs some way or the other, and that term intern is a result of that, right? Okay, so now we know who interns are, we know who trainees are, and then we know who these temporary employees, probationary employees, and permanent employees are. Permanent employees are permanent employees. Temporary and probationary employees are those with whom temporary employees are those with whom you have a term. Okay, I'm hiring you for a temporary basis for 6 months or for 1 year or whatever. Probationary employees are permanent employees, but are on a trial period. So between the organization as well as the employee, both of you have agreed on a trial period of, let's say, 90 days or 180 days about how the employee is performing. And if the employee performs satisfactorily, you are going to move them to permanent employment. That's what a probationary period is all about. Now, for what is PF applicable? PF is applicable for everything except proper internship. And I will tell you how and what classifies as a proper internship, right? It's just not a program of the university. There are, we have documents that we are supposed to have, and all of that. We will definitely go there. But is PF applicable for trainees? Yes, PF is applicable for trainees. Is PF applicable for temporary workers, for temporary employees? Yes, 100%. Is PF applicable for probationary employees? Yes. Is PF applicable for permanent employees? We all know the answer is yes. Now, the only question remains is PF applicable for interns, right? And now comes the distinction. If you are hiring interns out of college as a part of their curriculum, right? They have not completed their education. They're about 3 months or 6 months away from completion, and you have got them into your organization as a part of that curriculum. Point number one. Point number two, you are not using those interns for making profit for the company. Okay, this is very important for the IT sector, because typically what is it that you start giving them, right? If they're going to start coding, which means the company is using them for profit, right? And then that does not classify as internship. Whatever name we want to say, it doesn't classify as internship as per the authorities. The authorities are saying, see, you are benefiting out of employing, or you are benefiting out of that individual, right? You have started giving him coding exercises. You are making him work on a live project, or probably you are giving him testing assignments. They are supposed to test, and they're supposed to report back to their managers, or you are giving them something in an intent to keep them in the future, or to evaluate them as a future potential employee. If these conditions are true, then the authorities will say that you have to deduct PF, you have to deduct ESI, because then it becomes an employee-employer relationship. See, that is what we are trying to do with probationary employees, right? With probationary employees, we are keeping them for 3 months or 6 months. We are evaluating their performance, and then we are deciding whether they are going to become permanent or not. Now, with universities, let's say you have a program to hire freshers. You are, if there was no internship, what would you do? You would hire them as probationary employees. You would go ahead, you would pay a stipend or a training fee or whatever name you want to call it, it doesn't matter, but which is subject to statutory deductions. And then depending on the performance, you are either going to retain them or you are not going to retain them. And typically the retention rate is, it differs, but you are not going to retain 100%. You may retain 20%, 25%, depending on so many other factors. So if there is intent for the company to retain them for a longer period of time, or convert them into permanent employees, then the authorities say, see, this is not an internship. An internship is irrespective of whether you retain or not, you give them the opportunity to bridge the gap between industry and the industry and the university. So that is what they say, and then PF becomes applicable in those cases. PF will not be applicable if it is a part of the university curriculum. Second, if it is a part of the course curriculum, university as well as course curriculum, and then there are a host of other document requirements which we will come when we go there. Now, there is one scheme under which you can hire them as trainees and yet not contribute to Provident Fund or ESI, and that is NAPS. NAPS is National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme, right? That is what NAPS is, and you hire them not as an employee, you hire them as an apprentice under the Apprenticeship Act through the apprenticeship portal. You have a contract between the employer and the apprentice. It's all driven through the apprentice portal. If that is done, then you don't have to pay PF or ESI for the first, for the duration of the apprenticeship program for that set of employees or whatever. And you cannot just hire 10 people, 15 people, 20 people, 25 people under NAPS scheme. So there are certain limitations. Like, for example, if you have less than, I think it is 5 employees, if you have less than 5 employees, you cannot have an apprentice at all. If you have less than 29 employees, then you can have about 2.5% of apprentice of your total headcount. So which is about probably one or 2 people you can have as apprentice. And then if you have more than 30 employees, then you have to mandatorily have an apprentice program, and it varies depending on your headcount. It varies between 2.5 to 15% of your headcount. So if you hire somebody as an apprentice under the Apprenticeship Act through the apprenticeship portal, just not designating them as an apprentice, you have to hire them through the apprenticeship portal, then NAPS is applicable and you don't have to pay PF and ESI for those employees, neither employee contribution nor employer contribution. So for genuine interns, right, let's say you say, Akash, I have no intent of hiring them in the future. If somebody comes and rejoins back and we give them an offer, that is okay. But I'm not taking them in an intent to hire, which is very difficult to prove, by the way, because otherwise then why would you give an internship program, right? We all have that craze to hire them and watch their performance and see if they're going to be useful and test their attitude and 100 other things before making the hiring decision. That's fine, but as long as on paper you still stick to a genuine internship program, which is driven again, I am emphasizing the university and the course curriculum so much because that is one of the most important things that they see. So what are the documents that are required is an invitation from the college to hire or for your company to participate in the internship program. So that invitation letter is required. Second, a process of how you are going to conduct this internship program signed off by both the college as well as the organization is required. How this whole program is going to work, what is the duration, what are you going to focus, how many people are going to you are going to take, what are the streams that you are going to take. All of this as a policy document. Both the college as well as the organization signs that off. Third, you maintain attendance of those students who are interning with you, right? That is very, very important. And you send it to the college. And then you get a sign off that, okay, all these employees have attended between this time to this time. They were present at office, or they were undertaking the training or the internship that was provided to them. Then fourth, very, very important, is about pay. You cannot pay interns 25,000 or 30,000 or for that fact, even 15,000 or 20,000 rupees, because then it shows that you are actually paying them for profit. See, imagine or think in this manner, right? You are having a college student who wants to come with you, and you don't want to obviously, end up paying provident fund and ESI for them. Then what is it that you should compensate them for? You shouldn't compensate them for their time or their skill sets, because you are not using them. In fact, you should compensate them only for their conveyance and actual expenses, right? So what an approximate value which is provided as a compensation for the effort that they are taking to come to your office and then go back to your office, go back to their homes. Point number one. Point number two, you may also want to compensate them for the difficulty that they are facing. Sometimes that may be required. So this compensation cannot be like 20,000 and 25,000. Guys, how much ever you want to say, no, other companies are giving 20,000, 25,000, 30,000, 50,000. Fine, they are also deducting, either they are deducting PF or ESI, or they are deducting 10% TDS. But if you don't want to deduct TDS, and if you don't want to deduct PF and ESI, then your compensation cannot be related to skill set compensation or compensation for their time. It only has to be compensation for the efforts, for the conveyance that they are incurring to come from there to probably their homes to the college, to your office and back. And that has to be reasonable, like 5,000, like 7,500, like 8,000, like maybe 10,000. Anything beyond that is definitely unreasonable. However you want to reason it out, it still looks very unreasonable. So that's about what you pay for the interns, right? And then fifth, the day, as per the student's ID card, the day their intern, the day their college validity or the course is over, they no longer can be interns. They no longer can be interns. Please remember. Let's say you have somebody whom you have a bunch of these kids who are doing their fourth year of engineering, and then they are in the last semester, and then there is this 3 months of internship that you have already given as a part of their last sem. And then subsequently, what do you do? It's too noisy for us. Yeah, thank you. What do you do is you make sure that the internship program ends when the college or when their course curriculum ends as per their ID card, or some documentary evidence that you have from college that, okay, this date it's done, right? After that day, even one day you extend, then they're not genuine interns, right? Having said that, now what is also important is for you to realize the fact that 99 companies out of 100 misuse this, and hence you should expect for pushback from statutory authorities. You should expect non-cooperation. If you have everything paka, if you're doing everything by the book, if you have all these documentary requirements, then you don't have to worry at all, right? But you may say, a lot of people have said, Akash, we are trying to do something good. We are trying to collaborate with the university, and genuinely, I have seen them. We handle their compliance, so we make sure that every document is paka in terms of the internships, and yet there is nothing. We can say it is very difficult to call it harassment, but it is even nothing less than a harassment, right? You bring this, you bring that. Why are you taking? What is evidence? Blah blah blah. That is because 99 companies misuse this, and that is the reason PF authorities are very, very concerned if you are misusing. If you're not misusing, there is nothing that you have to worry about. If ESI authorities are very concerned if you are misusing, because this is a social security scheme and it is their job to enforce it. They don't know that you are doing the right thing until you prove it to them. They don't know that. So it helps to be compliant. Your history with the provident fund organization or with ESI helps. If you've never had complaints, it helps. If you've never delayed your PF payment, it helps in your case. But of course, that and this has nothing to do with it. I'm just saying that it helps, but you should expect scrutiny from authorities, right? So keeping all this in mind, let's make sure that you have all the documentary evidence, you have everything in line. Even when you have, an apprentice, the documentary evidence that they 100% want is the contract which is approved through the apprenticeship portal. That is the documentary evidence, nothing else. Otherwise, if you don't want to go through all these hassles, you either deduct PF and ESI, or you have another option, just deduct 10% TDS and be done with it. Simple. And let them file their returns. Let the kids file their returns, and if they're eligible for a refund of taxes, let them claim taxes when they file their returns. Nowadays tax refunds are being processed in just 3 months. So spare all the extra trouble of going through all of these challenges. But then there is a genuine way. If you follow this genuine way, if you the 5 categories of documents that I mentioned, if you have them, or if you take somebody from the apprenticeship scheme, then there is no PF and ESI for the duration of either the internship or for the duration of the apprentice. Okay, so this is, and when I say provident fund, it also includes ESI. Both of these, as well as professional tax, because professional tax is also for an employee relationship. So all these 3 standard, right? Now, having said that, happy to take your questions. Have you had such a opportunity, or what kind of challenges have you faced earlier? Please use the chat, and we'll be happy to look at it. I already have some questions, so I'm going to take them. Arpita asks, candidates pursuing CA have to complete 3 years apprenticeship training as a part of their curriculum. So candidates pursuing CA, meaning you're talking about, chartered accounting, right? Chartered accounting, it is not apprentice, it is articleship. Yeah. So that term articleship is very important to you. They do have to complete 3 years of articleship at a audit firm or under a chartered accountant of their choice, and that articleship is what it is. Does PF is applicable for contract employees and consultants? So if you have contract employees, your contractor, you are the principal employer, you have a contractor who is actually employing those employees, he has to pay PF. And it is your duty as a principal employer, your responsibility as a principal employer, to make sure that if he has 19 employees and more, he collects the provident fund costs from you and he pays it. It is your responsibility. You are legally liable as a principal employer. If he fails to pay the provident fund, the PF department is going to come after you as the principal employer. And there are so many transparency initiatives that the PF website has. You can in fact go and look who and all are the contractors, and are they paying their PF on time, how many employees they have, and everything. It's all public data nowadays. So the next part of your question, Yashwant, is that consultant. So when you hire as a consultant, you don't have an employer-employee relationship. They're not your employees. They are professionals who are there for that project or for a brief period of time. You don't have the rights of an employee provided to them. In that case, PF is not applicable, but TDS of 10% will be applicable. Okay, a gentleman by name User asks, what docs are required if we are hiring from Internshala website, where candidates independently register? So when you hire from Internshala website, are they undergoing their course, or have they completed their course? If they have completed their course, then you can't hire them as interns at all. It The name is Internshala. They may say, okay, please hire me as an intern, but there is no legal um, definition for this intern. They are akin to employees or trainees, right? Let what website it be. But if they are undergoing their course, then as always, the same documents that I said will be applicable. A letter from the university or the college inviting you to be a part of their internship program, evidence that the course curriculum has internship as a part of completion, the students' ID cards, attendance records, request letter that these students are whom you are going to hire, and then an agreement between you, and agreement meaning an understanding between you, that is the organization, and the college, that this is how the whole internship program is going to happen. That's the policy document on a very high level that we call. If you don't have this, you have to deduct PF and ESI or deduct 10% TDS. Okay, Ajay Kothari asks, once candidate is appointed under the Apprenticeship Act, can his stipend be like normal salary structure like regular employee, or it should be a single amount paid as stipend? Yes, it has to be, you have to name it as stipend or apprenticeship fee. That is what is expected, but it is not mandated. Nowhere in the law it says that it has to be like this only, at least to my knowledge. If there are other experts, please pitch in if I'm wrong, but nowhere in the law says that you have to have this wordings or whatever. But as a general practice, what we have resorted is that you give them the apprenticeship fee or stipend. That is how even we issue pay slips to the employees who are apprentice for whom we run payrolls. Paras asks, what if the college is giving a letter on their letterhead stating that this hiring of students as interns is part of their curriculum? In that case, is compliance deductions applicable? So this is only one of the many requirements that I said, Paras. That there is also the requirement of how much are you compensating the intern, right? And so many other things. So just because you have a letter from the college saying take these students as a part of interns doesn't help. That is only one of the 5 or 6 documentary requirements that I suggested. So if you have all the 5, then you don't have to deduct. But if you have only one, this little case. Yashwant says, considering a scenario where employee is getting net salary of 14,000 per month, I want to know what is the PF contribution of employee and employer. Basic plus DA is 10,000. What? So Yashwant, you should calculate provident fund only on gross salary, not on net salary, right? And if basic plus DA is 10,000, so the calculations are fairly very simple, right? You categorize them into 2. One, if your gross salary, I'm not concerned about net, it is gross. If your gross salary is less than 15,000, right, then the calculation has to be on gross minus HR. If your gross salary is more than 15,000, you can either do it at 12% of basic, or you can limit it to 12% of 15,000. It's as simple as this is. There is no ambiguity at all. Shweta asks, what should be the model of employment or compliance is required when the intern completes course curriculum, but still his internship training is to be continued? Or how do we call if we are hiring an intern after they complete their course, where we don't want to hire as FTE? So you have a couple of options, Shweta. You can hire them as trainees under the as apprentice under the Apprenticeship Act. If you have the number of employees that you can hire, I mean, number of apprentices that you can hire, or you can hire them just as trainees, right? Or as probationary employees, trainees, probationary employees, it doesn't change anything. You can give them whatever designation you want to give. But the difference is that you have to pay PF ESI for them once they have completed their course curriculum. There's no second questions on that. I hope that's clear, Shweta. Account says, are there any benefits like section 80 JJA when we recruit through intern or apprenticeship in service industry? So this is something that I'm not aware of. And Arun is there on the call. May I request Arun to please check if we can respond to this particular question, please. Hang on there. We'll definitely come back on this 80 JJA. What is the maximum period of internship? So, see, if that depends on the college, right? What is the internship that is decided by the college? Some colleges have 3 months, some colleges have 1 month, some colleges have X number of days. I don't know, but then that is something that is decided by the college, and not by us. We just have to inherit that. Okay, over these 4 years, in the last year there is 3 months of internship. We just inherit that and design a course like that. And then one gentleman called Sulaiman has asked, we are in retail business, so we can't deploy housekeeping for entire day. They will come only for 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. We are paying them 2 to 3K monthly. Is it mandatory to deduct PF for them? Yes. And why I'm saying yes, it's a good question, Sulaiman. Why I'm saying yes is because those are exactly the people who need this social security, right? Think about it. What they have no option to fall back on. If they have a big disease, where are they going to go? Because you are paying ESI, they can go to the ESI hospital and they can get them treated for a fraction of the cost, right? What if something happens to them, right? In that case, there is EDLI, employees direct linked insurance, which will come into play and compensate them based on their remuneration. Okay, so whether you are in retail business, whether you are not in retail business, it doesn't matter. If you as an organization employ more than 9 people, then ESI is applicable. If you as an organization employ more than 19 people, then Provident Fund is applicable. And I'll tell you, Sulaiman, that these are the exact kind of people who need ESI and PF than me, right? Because they don't have anything else to bank on. So typically what other companies do, Sulaiman, is they have contractors who charge the organization a fee which is inclusive of the PF ESI, right? And we just compensate the contractors. Okay, can you throw some light on 1% and 10? Okay, is it Yashwant? Yes. Me meant to say who should consider 1% deduction. No, there is no 1%. There is only 10% deduction. So when you hire consultants, they are under, I think, section 194J. As professionals, you hire them as professionals for whom the TDS deduction rate is 10%, not 1%. I'm sorry if I misspelled it as 1%, but it is actually 10. Stephen asks, when we use the consolidated amount in the agreement, do we give one single amount after deducting the taxes? Yes, you can do that. No problem at all. You can absolutely do that. There is no, in fact, what we do, Stephen, is when we hire a lot of interns, we have about 3-4 cycles of hiring interns at Relativity itself. And what we do is we hire them for 2 months and sometimes it's for crazy 75 days, even for those kind of periods. We don't pay them on a monthly basis because it's just too much of administrative work for us. So we pay them at the end of the program. That way, we also make sure that the interns, just don't show up. Yeah. So I have a query related to provident fund deduction over 15,000. We are using, Saurabh asks this question. We are using PF contribution on PF wage ceiling, 15,000 into 12, but few employees want to contribute on actual basic salary more than 15,000. Is it possible to do this activity on individual basic? If on individual basis, if yes, what is the process? Yes, you can do that. And there is actually no specific process at all. You can, so the first thing is you have to have a policy in your organization which allows the employees to choose what their PF contribution has to be, and you have to decide what you want to do, right? As an employer, do you want to pay 12%, or do you want to restrict it to 15,000, or do you want to do a matching contribution? And just draft a policy, and based on that policy start making the configuration in your payroll system. So those employees for whom the PF has to be 12%, you have to map them to a different salary structure or a pay structure, because for them the PF recovery is at 12% of basic. And for those who don't want 12%, who want it to be limited to 1,800, you map them to a different salary structure. That is all. You don't require any approval from the PF authorities, as long as you are not reducing the contribution. If you are increasing, no problem. But if you reduce, you definitely have to make sure that you have the documentary evidence to reduce it. Okay, I have 17 chat messages. I think I have to go a little bit faster. Why employee can withdraw EPS amount if service of employee is less than 6 months? Maruti, I don't know if I understood why employee can withdraw EPS amount if service of employee is less than 6 months. Arun, can you also take up this question? Arun, please, I'll give you some time. You can come online and speak. Is there an option with, I'm moving to the next question. Ankur, is there an option with any employee to not deduct PF by submitting Form 11 declaration? Yes, there is. So there is this Form 11, but this has its limitations. They should never have been contributing to PF, the first thing, right? And second thing is that their gross salary should be exceeding 15,000 or whatever is the PF wage. Currently it is 15, it could change tomorrow. So if both of these conditions are satisfied, then the employee can choose to opt out of completely out of PF itself. That option is there. For Muthusami asks, for consultant TDS, if the amount is less than, hey, by the way, we haven't completed. I'm just taking the questions. We have a couple more items to discuss. I'm trying to manage the time. I see that I have only 5 minutes and there are many questions. For consultant TDS, if the amount is less than 6 lakhs per annum, 50K, TDS would be 1%. No, it would not be 1%. It would be 10%. Why would it be 1%? No, it wouldn't be 1%. It would be 10. Unfortunately, I got disconnected. So yeah, Arun is working on that. We'll definitely get there. Accounts G. For more than 50K, TDS would be 10%. Yes, it is always 10%. Why employee can't withdraw EPS amount if service employees less of? Okay, I got a check saying Arun is not in office. He's gone to PF office. Okay. So those questions which I don't know, will definitely answer you back. Just make sure that you leave your email ID. One question is 80JJA, and the other question is Maruthi's question: why employee can't withdraw EPS amount if service of employee is less than 6 months? Maruthi, I'm so sorry. I don't know to this detail, but I will definitely get you. Please make sure that you leave your email ID. We'll get you an answer. If gross salary is less than 15,000, then what is the PF amount? If gross salary is less than 15,000, then your PF calculation is gross minus HRA. Priyanka, I hope that is helpful. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so almost all questions have been completed. Now that was quick, not bad. So guys, that we are on the chat itself, and I have a majority of the participants still here. The first thing that I want to know from all of you is, How do you feel this crowdsourcing topic? Please, I would love to, I'd love to get to know you. And you know, I know that there are many people who keep attending our webinars. So if there is somebody there who has attended our earlier webinars, please say hi to me on the chat, and I'll be very, very glad to say hi back to you. Okay, good clarity, Ankur. Thank you. Madhumita. Hi, Madhumita. How are you doing? Long time. Yes. Wonderful to see you today. Viresh. Hello. Hello, Priyanka. Yes, valuable. Thank you, Yuraj. Yes. Guys, we are not closing. So we still have a day to go. I mean, have a slide to go. So do you think we should still continue with these crowdsourcing topics? Maybe what I think we should definitely do is probably crowdsource this topic, not on the spot, but probably a week before, so you can decide whether it is interesting for you to join or not. Something will definitely uh, that's one idea that I think. But what do you think? Is crowdsourcing nice? What do you say? And do you have any topics in mind that you want to contribute for our next session? Happy to listen to you. Please put it on the chat box. Before you guys leave, you know, the next poll is coming. It has something to do with our feedback, as well as some basic questions about, you know, if you have any specific requirements. Please take few seconds to go through the poll. It will certainly help us make these webinars a little more enriching, make these webinars a little more deeper. You know, the last 4 or 5 webinar sessions, we had a quiz like interaction, and now we are trying to crowdsource topics. We'll see how this works for 4 or 5 sessions, and then, you know, we'll move on to another innovative format next time. So you have the poll. Please take a couple seconds to look at the polls, and some facts about us that you know, that my marketing team definitely wants me to talk about is that we are 13 years and young. We have 153 clients and counting, 12 lakh transactions per quarter. Our accuracy rates are about 99.5. We are present in 16 cities, and we issue about 500,000 Form 16s. That's a big feather on our cap, and we are so glad to be in this industry. This, I think, is our 120th or 122nd webinar, and many thanks to all of you who always take the time to participate, take the time to interact with all of your questions, with all of your ideas. It is just so wonderful to interact with you. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. Please connect with, you know, we also have a YouTube channel. Some basic simple stuff. It's a young YouTube channel, like how Naveen said, you know, a rather young speaker. So happy to see you there, and always happy to look at any ideas that you have. Please feel free to you know, share your ideas through LinkedIn. Connect with me, and you know, this webinar happens every Wednesday, second Wednesday every month. There is no difference at all. Every second Wednesday between 10:30 to 11:30, we welcome you. We welcome your colleagues, your other friends in the same profession, and then let's make this world a better place for payroll and tax professionals and compliance professionals and HR professionals. Thank you very much, and you all have a wonderful day and a month ahead. See you. Bye-bye. Hey, thank you very much, Madhumita, and all of you who are actually on the chat. I'm still going to hang around if you guys have any specific questions. Happy to be here, but then, you know, I just wanted to make sure that we don't move out of our you know, screen time. So thank you, Madhupinta. Yes, thank you, Kavya Shri. Yeah, I'm also waiting for my next session. Thank you very much. Yes, please connect with me on LinkedIn, and please also drop your email IDs here so that we can send you the recordings. And to all of you guys who are there on our LinkedIn live stream as well as on our YouTube live stream, thank you for joining. Next time, I suggest that you join on Zoom so that there is a little more interaction, that you can specifically participate, and it will be wonderful. Yes, Priyanka, yeah, thank you. We'll send you. Shanmugam, thank you. Great. Pleasure. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. And let's call this a wonderful session. Thank you for your participation once again.